Hi, and welcome. I want to tell you something that I've probably repeated thousands of times over the last 30 odd years that I've been engaged in teaching finance to groups of non-financial managers, groups who are attending programs at business schools, and it's the following. Assets and profits are like food and water to humans. Humans can live for quite a long time without food and water. Days. Some people have survived for weeks. They're not in good shape, but they survived. But a human cannot last for more than a couple of minutes without oxygen. So, cash flow is the oxygen of a business. And in all the times people have asked me to come along to a business and help them out because they have cash flow problems and so on, they seem to think that there's some kind of science involved in putting together cash flow forecasts. And this is not so. It's quite simple. Every workshop where I run this, either at a business school or for groups of managers from a company, they are able, and remember I'm there to teach them how to do it in broad terms so that they can understand the instruments of business. And they are able, by the end of the workshop, to, from information given in my notes, they're able to prepare an income statement and a balance sheet. And then later on, they're able to do, albeit a short one, 6 months, projected income statement, then the cash flow forecast, and then the projected balance sheet. And they haven't studied this for weeks or years or anything. They can just do it after it's been explained to them in an understandable way. And I think I've developed the ability to do that. Now, when you come across people who say, well, you can't do a cash flow forecast, it's really quite simple. You need to use something like Excel. And you prepare, and this is what you have on it. It's as simple as this. You have your columns across, and I suggest that these be weekly, and you do them for 14 weeks ahead. 14 weeks takes you into the 4th month. And so you have your columns, and you can put the dates at the top, the weeks ending on Fridays on those particular weeks. And then you sit down and you start filling in. You start with the payments on top, total payments. Then you have the receipts and all the details of the receipts, total receipts. Then you have a row, rows across the bottom that gives you your bank opening, the change, and your bank closing, also going across. And then you start filling in the numbers. And of course, you fill in the easiest numbers first. And the easiest numbers are the payments that you're going to have to make. So your expenses, if there's rent, if there's motor vehicle leases, salaries, all that type of expenses that you know about. And you know when you're going to have to pay them. Some people you employ, you might be paying on a weekly basis, and some people at the end of every month. But on the days that you pay them, you put that into that appropriate week. So all the things that you have to pay. And then, of course, your suppliers. Now, of course, this will depend on you knowing what your purchases are going to be and how much you owe at the start of this exercise, and then when you're going to have to pay it. So you fill that in and you'll get the total payments. The receipts is a bit harder, because in order to do the receipts, you have to do a budget, or you look at your budget if you've done a budget, and you really should. You know, a budget is a business plan, reduced to numbers. So you've got to then estimate how much money will come in. Excuse me. So some money might come in just the week after the month end. Some depends when the month end falls in this 14 weeks that you've projected ahead. So you give it your best guess. Because people say, how am I going to know? Well, try. You'll get better as you go along. You learn about the pattern of payments you receive and so on. But more importantly, once you've completed this cash flow forecast, you'll have an idea of how much money you should be getting in. Not sales, how much money for the oxygen, how much cash is coming into the business, and how you're paying. Now, with some suppliers, you might have a bit of flexibility. So if they're supposed to be paid on the 30th of a month, and the 30th of the month is on one of your Fridays, and if you only pay them on the Monday, well, that's 2 days interest you're saving on your overdraft. So once this whole thing is done, if you have managers working for you who in your business, and I'm just talking about a smaller business, not some vast company, then you talk to them and see to get their help on sales projections, talking to your salespeople. You get everybody involved in this process. And then at the end, you'll see, oh, and by the way, I almost forgot, if you have an overdraft, you can put in a formula to calculate the interest. Now, it's a rough calculation. You could say, for example, take the opening overdraft and the closing overdraft, and then use the average of the two and let it calculate what the interest is, and it'll put it in every week. Although the bank's computer is looking at your account every split second and is calculating the interest on it. Now, that's not too difficult to do, is it? It's just making provision so that you can see what progress you're making in terms of potential money inflow. More importantly, if you see that you're going to be getting into a tight corner with your overdraft facility, in other words, the facility is how much your bank is willing to let you draw out of your account when you don't have any money there, so you're borrowing money from them. That facility, you see that you're approaching the limits. Then don't wait until you hit the limit and they start refusing to process payments and things like this. If you've done this for the 14 weeks ahead and given it your best shot, and by the way, if you keep doing this, you started this on a Sunday at home or something, then on the Friday you look at the actual numbers that have come in and you update, so you put in the actual numbers that come in. The spreadsheet then sort of moves everything out ahead, and you save that. And save each week's one in a separate file so that you can always go back and look at them. And that's the best thing to do, but I'm digressing here slightly. If you can see that due to whatever circumstances have arisen, you're going to be in a bit of a tight spot and you're going to get very close to this overdraft facility. What do? You print out your cash flow forecast. You make a note of the details that you think are going to occur. Maybe there's been a delay in some contract that you're supposed to provide services for, so you won't be getting in sales in that particular 2 weeks' time. It will be in 4 weeks' time, but you will get it in because you've got a contract. You can take that with you. It's just that there's been a delay. So once you've done that, you go and see the bank manager and you say, this has happened. We got an order from Mega Corporation X to do this job for them. We were supposed to start in a week's time and they've delayed us by, I thought we were going to be load shedded there for a moment. They've delayed it by 2 weeks, which means the money I was expecting to get in at this time will only come in after that month end. So I'm a bit tight on my facility. Can you increase my facility to allow me to get through that period? Banks want to lend money to you so that you pay them interest. It's not for free. They're not doing you a favor. But they want to be dealing with somebody who understands business. And if the person they're dealing with understands cash flows and can talk the way you'll be able to talk if you do this preparation, you'll get that additional overdraft facility from the bank. Please try that. Don't get yourself in a spot where your business is running out of oxygen. It's not good for your stress levels personally. You're placing your personal assets at risk, because if you've borrowed money from a bank, they will ask you to sign a personal guarantee. So don't get into that situation. Just think, I need, as well as you might need oxygen, your business needs oxygen to survive for for any length of time. Thank you.